Hi folks, this is Steve Grono. I just want to take you on a quick tour of a house under construction, of which I will not name the builder, but wanted to point out a few things that are different between builders and the way they put homes together. Starting right here at the front door. The first thing we notice about this house is that all the OSB framing on the floor has no screws in it. As you can see, it's just nails and no screws. That means that at some point in time this floor could squeak. The next thing I wanted to point out was the staircases. These staircases are built using scrap lumber from the job. It's not done by the framers. It's built by another company that comes in and just sets the staircases and windows. But as you can see, these are just bits and pieces left over from the job. There's two pieces on the treads. This also adds to the possibility of squeaks going up and down the stairs as the house matures and the wood continues to dry out. Let's talk about the windows for a second. These windows are all put in place using the exterior nailing flange. We're inside the house now, but this is the cavity right here where normally what we would do is we would shim this window completely in the framing opening. That means that the window is never going to have any problems with binding or leaking or cracking. But as you can see, this house is built with absolutely no shims whatsoever, and the windows are all just hanging on the nails that the framers use when they initially install the windows. Now, let's take a look at the HVAC systems in this house. These houses are being done with a flex duct. This is flex duct in the ceilings. Actually, these are in the TGIs. And I'm not sure how well you can see this, but the TGIs have been completely reamed out so to allow the flex duct to flow through. That means that the cavity is cut from end to end, taking out all of the center rib support completely from the structural integrity of that floor joist. And as you can see, that happens throughout. This is a less expensive way to do it. And as you can see here, because they have to pre-engineer this before it's constructed, they pre-drill all these holes. Here's some holes that are never even used in this particular house. They're just here. These 1, 2, 3 floor joists have been hogged out for ductwork that's never been installed. So that means that you'll end up with a house that's going to have some deflection potentially in this part of the floor down the road. Let's talk about the HVAC a little more. Flex duct running to a central heat supply is what we have here. And the central heat supply is right here in the middle of the house. This is the square supply side where all of your heat is going to come from. And we'll go upstairs and I'll show you a little bit more about the heat, but the interesting part about this is the two round ducts here are both cold air returns. And to have good heating and cooling in any house, you need good circulation, good movement of air. The way this house is built, there is only one cold air return for the entire first floor, and it's right here. As you can see, there's a big vent right up here. There's a big opening. That means that all the air in this entire floor has to end up right here. Instead of, as opposed to having cold air returns throughout the house, there's only one cold air return in this house. The other duct right here goes up to the second floor. We'll go up and take a look at that one and see where that ends up. I think you'll find it's going to be exactly the same. Only one cold air return for the entire second floor, which, as we know in the business, is completely inadequate. Here it is right here, up at the top of the first floor. You'll see a big vent. If you're considering a new home and you want to understand how the home is going to perform over time, ask the builder how the heating system and cooling system is designed. If you see a large vent in the center hall near the staircase, you're going to know that this house was built with a very inexpensive central cold air return system. That means that all of these rooms have to return air by drilling holes and opening up openings above all the doors up here. This is how they attempt to achieve circulation. Unfortunately, it just doesn't work. Plus, you have a lot of flow through for noise and sound because you have a hole completely through into the bedrooms, to the hallways, and to other bedrooms. The other thing you notice about these heating systems is you've got one single heat in this entire room. As you can see, this bedroom, one heat. And you'll find that in every bedroom, the way this house is built, only one supply heat right here for this entire room. Very, very minimal heating and cooling has been done here. So just a few quick points there we wanted to share with you. Be very careful when you're looking at new homes because these do make a major difference over time. Your heating system makes a major difference. The way that your windows are installed. Check to see if your windows have been shimmed in place completely 360 degrees or if they've just been left hanging on the nailing flanges. And ask questions about the construction and quality of materials used in the framing. Thanks, hope that's been helpful. Hi folks, this is Steve again. Just wanted to follow up on the heating system that you'll find in most houses being built today by other builders. This again, I'm in the lower level of this same home. This is the single cold air return for this entire lower level. One single cold air return. But what's really interesting here before you get to framing is to see how this flex duct has been run through the flooring. What you've got here is flex duct, because of poor engineering, piled in the same cavity on top of other flex duct. And as what you can see here is both ducts are being pinched because they're being forced into a space that's simply too small. What that does is that affects the airflow to the end of these heat runs, wherever they end up in the house. It means you're not getting the same CFM of heat passing through this ductwork. What's interesting is this occurs 3 times in one cavity. Here, and here, and here. And then as we look across this floor, we see again evidence of places where there's nothing passing through this hole, for example. That hole is drilled from end to end, and you're going to get deflection in this beam. This beam is going to deflect over time, causing squeaks in the upper floors, we believe. We just don't do it. Over here we have the same thing where these have been pre-drilled and not used. Examples here, here, all throughout this basement. You just don't feel this is a sound and quality way to build a home, and wanted to point some of these things out to you. As you can see, the condensate building up on this uninsulated pipe. And these are things that you will not see after the house has been drywalled and insulated. Things that are all hidden from view at the time the house is delivered. So you may want to ask your builder what kind of heating system that they're using in the home before you build it. Ask them if they're using central cold air returns. Ask them if they're using flex duct passing through the floor joists as these are. You can only imagine what'll happen with this house over time. Here's an interesting case where the flex duct is sandwiched through and is compressed because the hole isn't big enough. We don't feel this is a quality way to build a home.